Thank you very much for joining us. Apologies we're a minute or two late. We're just letting people join in. And we also had an ice cream van drive up next to the window at exactly the same time as we were about to go live, playing its lovely tune. So we thought we'd wait a minute. So thank you very much for joining us today. We are going through our tips and tricks sessions like we do every month, or within reason every month. And today we're talking about PowerPoint, Clipchamp and LinkedIn. Now, I'm also going to throw in something called Microsoft Create, which is a new addition which has come into your environment. You may have already discovered this. If you use Office 365, you might have stumbled across something called Create when you log into the online version of 365. So we're going to explain a little bit about what that is and what that looks like as well. So really today's market, I know lots and lots of you, so thank you for joining me. And I can see already based on the list that there's quite a few of you in there from a marketing perspective, and that's not a surprise really. We're talking today about PowerPoint slides, we're talking about video editing, which is what Clipchamp is, we're talking about social media elements, which is what LinkedIn, and I'm going to start this whole session just by saying I'm a techie, not a marketing person. So feel free to shout at me and tell me I'm completely wrong when I make out various things that might be really, really, really good. But that my job is to kind of expose the tools and let you be very creative with that stuff and work out the best way to use it. But as a CTO and a techie, I get excited about the nuts and bolts. And I'm not a very creative person, so I'll leave that to the experts. So, but again, with all of these, we're always going to go at pace. We will record this, obviously. We will share this again after the session, so you can come back and watch some of this stuff, although maybe not quite as fast as we normally do today. So let's have a little chat about PowerPoint then. Some of this stuff you may have seen before. We've done some of these sessions before. Just for those of you, lots and lots of people are joining every single month. This is growing rapidly, which is awesome to see. So we like to bring some of the old stuff back in again, just to let some of the new people that haven't watched these before get visibility of it. So PowerPoint, obviously a Microsoft product, and there's some really cool features within it when we create boring slides, right? And turning boring slides into things that look a bit better. And whilst I accept this is probably not the right approach for a marketing team, this is a really useful thing for you personally, for you to put something together, for you to use something internally or across the business. But we'll touch on where this kind of draws a line and where perhaps you want to draw a line from a business perspective in a minute. But I've got a PowerPoint slide here and it's really, really boring. It's white text, it's got, white text, white background, black text, not much going on, not very exciting, not very engaging. So what we've had in PowerPoint for a long time is the ability to go in and change things like a theme. So you can see at the top where we have these themes, and these things have been around for years, right? Since the first ever version of PowerPoint had themes in. And it allows us to change the background color, the font type, the color of the fonts, and we can choose ones that fit. And very importantly, you may find that your marketing team has published a brand or a theme or a template to you, and that's typically the one you use when you get to business-related material. But what I want to focus on today is when we pick one of those themes, we have this thing on the right-hand side called design suggestions. This is the window on the right-hand side. If it's not there, click on design suggestions. And what will happen inside design suggestions is as you go through this, it will read some of the text on your slides and try to pull in appropriate imagery, layouts, buttons, icons, things that would make sense. And the key here is that it also subtly changes the size of the font so that it's easier to read from the back of the room. Somebody maybe is slightly more visually impaired, that they can't necessarily see the text. It makes it bigger, makes it more accessible, and it manages a lot of the layout for you. You can then obviously go back in and tweak and change and manipulate that so that you can make it more refined. And of course, if you started with a brand, a theme that's designed around your company's branding, again, these layouts and this change wouldn't shift too much from your brand. Okay, so if you're not doing that already, great way of flicking through a presentation. It's taken us about 30 seconds to go from white backgrounds, black text to something that's slightly more engaging. Okay, so very, very useful. Make sure you use design suggestions. Used to be called design ideas, now called design suggestions. Another thing lots of people don't know about is screen recording inside PowerPoint. So great way of just quickly capturing it. And the truth is I capture pretty much all these videos this way because it's just easier when I'm putting a PowerPoint slide together. But I go into a blank PowerPoint document, insert screen recording, And what it allows me to do is firstly select an area of my PC. If I've got multiple monitors, it might be that monitor or that screen or whatever subsection of part of it. And I draw a box and I have a few options around what I can do, like record the audio, record just whatever I'm doing, track the mouse cursor, hit record. And now everything that I do on my PC is being recorded for me, and it will inject it straight back into my PowerPoint slide. So here I've opened up a document, or so I've opened up a picture. When I'm happy, I can go and hit stop, and you'll find that that little video recording is now just embedded straight into my PowerPoint deck. And if I play that little video inside my PowerPoint slide, you'll see my mouse moving around, you'll see me opening up that image, and everything I did on my screen was recorded. Really, really useful. Brilliant for me, obviously, when I'm doing things like this. But also very useful for how-to guides inside the organization, quick ideas how to get to something, perhaps even you need to if you're in the tech world or you in the software world, you want to demonstrate your application or something that you do in your environment. Perfect way of doing it, right? And then stick it in a PowerPoint slide. Also saves me the effort, and this is the reason why I do a lot of videos, because there is a fear of live demos not going quite correctly. So great, if you can record it in a slightly more caged and secure environment, put that up and then deliver it. What you wouldn't want to receive as my audience is to sit there watching me struggling to try and fix something if it's not quite doing what I was expecting it to do. So hence why I record the videos. I'm cheating, basically. So another really useful one, Cameo. So this is, I'm surprised this isn't used more actually, but when you deliver a session in a virtual environment, so let's say you are on a Teams meeting or you're on a WebEx or you're on a Google Meet or whatever it is you use for your virtual meetings, pretty much all of them end up in a scenario where as soon as you share your screen, it takes up the whole screen and you become this kind of tiny little picture in the top right-hand corner. And it may well be that you're in a sales capacity, let's say, and you're trying to generate interest, excitement. You want your body language to come across. You want to be able to deliver that. It's ironic that I'm sitting here talking about this, and I'm very aware that from what you can see, I'm a tiny little box in the right-hand corner at the moment. But the point is that this is a perfect way of doing it. So what you can do with Cameo is inside your PowerPoint slide, the thing that you're going to present in your Teams meeting, you can go and insert this Cameo option. Okay, so and this is like a little circle. You get various options in there around kind of what it looks like, whether it's square, whether it's round. You know, imagine that sort of YouTube world. If for those of you that have seen YouTube with a person in the bottom right-hand corner, if that's the end result that we're looking for, okay. And what it's going to do is it's going to grab your webcam, and whilst you're presenting your slides, it's going to feed that straight through to your webcam and allow you to deliver that live. And you can make that as big or as small or as whatever it is you require to ensure that you are able to meet customer engagement, that you can generate some excitement around what it is you're talking about, and you can use your body language and your expressions to do that. So Cameo is very, very useful. It's also great if you're really vain like me and you just want your face all over everything, you can do that. That's useful as well. But next one, animate without animating. So there is a function within PowerPoint where you can create something called an animation pane, and you can painstakingly make a box step around various parts of your PowerPoint slide, or you can animate a certain piece of text to get bigger and smaller. And this has been around for a long time, okay? And some people are incredible with what they can create within PowerPoint, but you spend an awful lot of time doing that. This is a really handy way of just making your presentations a little bit more exciting, okay? So what we do typically, and what I do in a lot of my slides, is this morph transition, okay? So what I'm going to do here to demonstrate how this works, I'm taking my first slide, I'm drawing a box on it, pretty ugly, but it's to demonstrate what it's going to do. And I create a box, I rotate it, I make it a certain size, and then I go and copy that. So Control C or right click copy, and then I go to my next slide and I paste the same box onto the second slide, and I move it around and I resize it, and I can do whatever I like to do to make it different shape, perhaps make it a bit more engaging. This will make sense in a moment. Then I go to my third slide and I paste it again, so that I've got three objects. The reason we're pasting the same object again and again and again is so that it's got the same name. This transition doesn't work unless you do that. So, and I reshape it again, okay? So when I look at my PowerPoint slide now, if I look at it in a very static, boring view, when I step through my slides, you can see that it's very static and it doesn't move in any way. There's no animation. So what we can do is go over to our transitions section and choose this very special one called morph. Okay, and what's going to happen now is I go through each of those slides that I just created and I change the transition to morph. Bit of a sneak peek at what it's going to do in a second when we watch this. It's going to create an object that moves around without you needing to go and animate it. It's just done through transitions. So as I go next, you can see that it scrolls to the bottom right side. I appreciate if it's all slow and laggy, as we were saying at the beginning. I apologize. It might be jumping across the screen statically, but trust me, there's a very smooth transition as the box changes and resizes and it does interesting things. Perfect if you've got a big banner title maybe that you want to shrink to the right-hand side or make it smaller at the top. You can create some really rich animation without needing to get into things like animation pane and keyframes and steps and all these bits and pieces. It just brings another level of engagement, another level of interest into your PowerPoint slides. So a couple of little interesting bits there, but one of the really, really powerful things, you'll know if you've joined me before, I talk a lot about Power BI, I talk a lot about AI, things like that. Really, really useful in my world. If I'm stood up delivering a company update, or I'm in a board meeting and I'm having a conversation about our SLAs, our KPIs that we have within the organization, something I might want to do is bringing data to my PowerPoint slide to support what it is I'm delivering and what I'm talking about. So very easy to do. We go to insert, we go to Power BI on one of my slides. I go off to Power BI, I copy the URL, the bit at the top of the address bar, and I paste it into my Power BI report. And then instantly, my Power BI report is now embedded inside PowerPoint. Now, why is that useful? Well, that's great because if I'm in a conversation in a meeting room, let's say it's a board meeting, we're talking about KPIs, and one of my colleagues challenges me around something and a piece of data that they want to drill into, they want more understanding of. My data is not static here. I can go, yeah, no problem at all. Let me click on that section. Let me right click and drill down and view that information. It also means that if I'm not particularly technically confident with navigating around Power BI, dropping things around, jumping into this new section, changing reports, and maybe I'm stood in front of the CEO and is all a bit nervous, this is perfect because it's all embedded. I don't need to leave PowerPoint. All I need to do is just dig into my report. I don't have to minimize stuff. I don't have to log into Power BI and get my phone out, put my MFA code in. It's all embedded inside that document for me. So really, really, really useful. Great way to bring much more visual insight, and that's a Power BI thing, but bringing more data and more visual insight into efficiencies within your business. But now it's even easier to just bring that into a document, into a PowerPoint slide. Also really, really good if you've got lots of different departments, maybe you've got different Power BI reports from different departments, and you want a slide deck with multiple slides in that render up different reports from different departments into one central location and just view those things. So quite cool. Perfect. We do have, bear with me a second. Oh, can you add, sorry, I got scared then. Mr. Marketing over here just totally took my screen away and has thrown me back to the question. So can you add directly from Salesforce? So not direct, as far as I'm aware, not directly from Salesforce. In terms of Power BI, you can absolutely drag data from Salesforce and generate a Power BI report that then is presented inside PowerPoint. It's a great question. I don't actually know the answer if you can do it directly to Salesforce. My assumption probably is not. But you can absolutely create, Power BI has connectors into third-party platforms like Salesforce, where you can pull in all the opportunities, all the leads, all the things that you want, put that in a graph, and then shove that inside PowerPoint. That's totally doable. Okay, so today we are going to talk a little bit about Clipchamp. Let me go back a step. Let me explain what Clipchamp is. So Clipchamp is a video editing tool. Now, again, if lots of you on the call are marketeers, I should say, then you will probably be aware of the Adobe Suite, the Premiere Pro environment, and all of the video editing functionality that comes with the incredible products that Adobe produce. And this isn't really to knock Adobe products, they are awesome. And they are up there, right? They are the go-to professional tool for any requirement when it comes to really well-polished, rounded products that you're gonna put out. However, they also come with an incredibly high price tag. And the truth is that you've probably got lots of users in your environment that are going to use 1% of the tools that are available to you within Adobe. Now, we have customers that are now using Clipchamp for a subset of their users. They may be, I'm going to make this up slightly, but let's say they bought 16 Adobe licenses because 16 of their team need to do a little bit of video editing. And when I say a little bit of video editing, they need to trim a video. They need to cut the first 3 seconds off of it. They need to shorten it. At the end of today's video or today's webinar, Sam will go and take this video, take this recording, and with a bit of luck, chop all my waffle out at the beginning of it, or if something goes wrong, he might edit it, he might make changes. And this is perfect for that sort of thing. And I don't need to, from a CTO perspective and from a business perspective, I don't need to go and spend thousands of pounds on Adobe Premiere Pro so that Sam can cut 3 seconds off the beginning of it, because Clipchamp can do it and we get it as part of our licensing within 365. So if you have Microsoft 365, you have Clipchamp to an extent. And we're going to talk a little bit about that in a moment. So first thing, where is Clipchamp? How do we open it up? How do we get to this video editing world? Well, within your, again, online, within 365, there are apps for this. You can install stuff on your desktop. But if you go to apps in 365, this bit at the top will show you recently used applications. It may be there. If not, go to all apps and you'll see all the things that you have access to inside Microsoft 365 and choose Clipchamp. When you do that, you will find a few options. I can upload my own videos, I can do a screen recording, or I can start a new video project. And when I start a new video project, for those of you that are familiar with the Adobe world, this becomes a slightly more familiar environment in terms of, in a second, we'll see it's got a timeline, it's got things like that. Now, you all know that I'm an AI person to some degree, so part of my job is to explore this new frontier and deliver the good and the bad and the ugly to you all. So part of what I want to show you today is just, I've got Copilot. Now, you can't do this bit that I'm about to show you unless you have a Microsoft Copilot license within your 365 environment. But everything else I'm going to show you, you can do without that Copilot license. Anywhere where we're seeing some sort of AI involvement, you're going to need that Copilot license. So what I can do within Clipchamp now is I can give it a text prompt, very similar to what we do with ChatGPT, very similar to what we do with things like Sora. We did a video on Sora. That's OpenAI's version of that. And I've given it a prompt there saying, I want you to create a 10-second video of the TNT Thunderbolt motorbike driving down a country lane. And within a few seconds there, it's created me that video. Fantastic. Okay, so I can now, you can see it's roughly 9 seconds long. And as I play that, you can see that I've got some stock imagery of a motorbike driving down a lane. And there's some various bits at the bottom that we call in the timeline. That purple bar at the top is the text, the Thunderbolt in action piece you can see on the video. The video section in the middle is the actual video. And then there's these blue bits at the bottom we'll talk about in a second. So I want to tweak this video slightly. So I'm going to say, actually, it's pretty boring. It's one shot. I want you to go and create 3 different shots. Give me some more interesting camera angles and spice it up. And all of this is being done without needing to be a video editor, just creating the basis of a video that maybe I'm going to go in and edit later on and tweak. So again, it's done it perfect. So now you can see there's 4 sections ready to ride on the move, pure power chasing adventure. Slightly missed my requirement. I asked for 3, it gave me 4. I'm not going to moan about it too much, but we can skip through and you can see now that I've got these 3 different videos, of which 2 of them are the same, with some transitions, with some hard cuts where it just flicks over to other things. Something to take away there that I notice is the fact that we're talking about pure power, right? It's understood we're talking about an impactful part, so there's no soft transition there, it's just cut straight over. So it is pretty clever in terms of what it's trying to achieve. So now I don't want these sections in the end, so I can just go and delete those. That's fine. So I can click on those and delete them off. And it gives me that ability to then trim my video, to cut things down. You can see these little bars on either end. If you're used to Adobe Premiere Pro, this is the ability for you to drag this stuff in. So I'm going to drag that audio file in. And this is an important point to talk about. These blue bars at the bottom, that's actually an audio narration of an AI engine that's basically decided that it's going to talk over the top of my video. So it's made some stuff up, as AI does. And as I play through that, it's going to create an audio piece where an AI engine is actually reading out some of the text. What text is it reading out? Well, that's coming from the bar above it. You can see the blue bar above it that says experience pure excitement as the TMT something, and cruising along, the Thunderbolt glides through winding roads surrounded by lush fields, etc., etc. I've effectively, the Clipchamp has put that text in there, and it's now being read out dynamically for me. So it's created an end-to-end piece of content. I nearly said marketing piece of content, but I think most of you would have a go at me and say there's a whole world more to it than just creating a video for Scott and putting it online. So, but the key here is that we have that flexibility to go and edit and change and manipulate. I can use a piece of text to give me a start for 10, and then I can go in and start to edit it. So another great thing, why are we creating these videos? Generally, we're creating videos within a marketing department potentially to put these things online, right? To push them out through our social channels, to create engagement and interest in a product or service we're delivering. And of course, I've chosen a motorbike and I'm using stock imagery, but of course I could be uploading my own videos, right? Bear that in mind. We'll come back to that in a second. But here, that size layout doesn't always fit with different platforms, right? So sometimes a square 1:1 ratio is better for things like Instagram, or portrait view is better for TikTok, because that tends to take up the whole panel. And of course, some of you will use only certain social platforms, some of you will use others, some of you will use none. But the key is I can change the aspect ratio the same way I would in a Premiere Pro. So these really basic tools exist within Clipchamp. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend like this is on par with what Adobe can do. But you know what? I just feel like it does enough for a lot of your requirement for some of your staff. Your main video editor is probably never going to use this. But actually, for that individual that needs to be able to trim a video by a few seconds, well, this is perfect. Why are you going to spend thousands of pounds on an Adobe Premiere Pro license just for them to click 3 seconds off a video? That seems silly to me. So obviously, very, very easy. Drag these videos out, resize the videos. You need to move the elements that exist in your video around to make them fit the size layout or portal that you're looking at. But as you can see, it's pretty easy. It's drag and drop, right? And you can see as I drag this little timer around, it flicks between the video, that section of the video. I can play, I can look at my transitions, make sure it all kind of moves, it's in the right environment. And when I'm happy with the layout, I can go and export it. So let's talk a little bit around this text-to-speech narration. This is where I'm typing text in and it's reading it out. We've done a lot of stuff with AI videos there. So let's just very, very simply explain what happens if we don't have AI. How do we create a video from scratch? So we've got a completely blank environment here. And what I'm going to do, just for the benefit of those that don't have AI tools baked into the environment, I can go to these sections on the side, on the left-hand side. So stock video, it's a bit like clip art, shall we say. You type in a word that you're looking for, and I want some stuff on motorbikes, and it's going to return me a whole bunch of videos that are royalty-free, stock-based, and I can drag into my environment. Now, it's worth saying that you'll see all over the place this Go Premium, right? And you'll see that some of those images have got, all those videos have got little diamonds next to them. That's because there is a premium version of Clipchamp. If you want access to the much wider document library, or video library and sound file library and basically assets, then you need a premium Clipchamp license. That isn't dissimilar to what Adobe will do, where you pay for the access to the Adobe stock imagery platform. It is considerably cheaper. So if you are kind of aggressively doing this with Clipchamp, that's probably something to explore. If you just need to trim some videos, again, you probably don't need to get involved with paying for even buying a Clipchamp license. You will have it within your license as it stands at the moment. So we can add these other elements in, even though we're not using AI. I've added in a text section here. It gives us lots of freedom around customization, so I can change the color of it, I can change the borders that go around it, the size of the font, I can drag static pictures in, I can have that thing move around and animate and do interesting things and spin in and spin out through transitions, all sorts of options to create a very rich, engaging little video. So if we play that video through now, just so we've got an idea of what I've created there, this has all been done manually, bear in mind. So we've dragged one video in and put some text on it. Simple as that. So happy with that. If we hit play, you can see that I've now got my TMT Thunderbolt title in the front, and we've got a video playing behind it. So The next piece that we want to get into is this record and create section. This allows me to create my own content, upload my own videos, screen capture things that are going on my computer, my own webcam if I want to kind of be the talking in front of the video. But the thing I'm interested in is this text to speech at the bottom. When I choose text to speech, it will give me a few options on the right hand side. It will ask me some text. I've typed in take a trip on the TNT Thunderbolt motorbike and go anywhere in the world. And I get some options around what voice I want my AI engine to read this out as. So does it need to be cheerful and happy? Does it need to be formal and professional? What sort of tone needs to be in that voice? And very importantly, what language? So I can type that in English and then have the video, the narration over the top of the video come out in French or German or any other language that I want. So again, if you are regionally marketing into something, that's great. You can actually have it translate. And if that's important to you, it's actually a really cool way of putting a passage of text in, changing it to a different language, and then just exporting that audio file out of Clipchamp, and then using that in another project or in your Adobe platform or whatever it is you might need to go and use. So, so you can save that audio file out and then go and reuse it in other areas. So it saves you paying somebody to come and do a voiceover and a translation into another language if you are a global business. So very, very powerful. Now, I appreciate you're not receiving the impact of this because you can't hear it, right? But if you've got Clipchamp, you've got Copilot, absolutely go and use that text-to-speech service because it's powerful stuff. Right, the last piece really is that we have this, going back to our PowerPoint world, you can see that Clipchamp is kind of like PowerPoint for the new modern, slightly more modern world in terms of the ability to drag and drop stuff and put things in. And of course, I could create a PowerPoint video with somebody talking over it and all of that stuff within Clipchamp. But what we want to get to is that how do you do transitions between videos, right? This is really, really simple. Again, this might be something that just somebody needs to do for an internal video. Maybe it's the end of year Christmas do collection. Someone was filming stuff, people put their videos in, someone compiled it all together, someone got married, whatever it looks like. Even at a personal level, you get married, someone's birthday, whatever, brilliant stuff. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go and find some videos. Again, you'll notice that I'm looking for things, and lots of these things have got diamonds on. So you can see the breadth of the actual stock library, but actually you will find that whilst there are plenty of videos you can use for free, all the really decent ones are probably paid for. So bear that in mind, all right? So we've now got another video. We've got this motorbike driving around, and then we're going to cut to the exhaust with some fumes coming out. Probably not the greenest thing that I could have put up there, is it really? But we have this idea of transitions. So we go over transitions, and you can see that these are very similar to PowerPoint, right? We've got pages rolling away. We've got 3D cubes spinning in and stuff changing. This sort of stuff's been around for many, many years, right? I can imagine my uncles doing this on videos and bits and pieces many years ago. But I pick one, I drag it over, and a little blue plus box appears, and I just drop it on the plus box. So I've now got a transition. On the right-hand side, if I choose that, I go to some more properties. I can choose how long that transition needs to take between these two videos. And if we go back, we've made it about 3.7 seconds there. If we go back, you can see that the video now just transitions over to something else. So if we think about Clipchamp, we have the ability to upload our own videos, put text in, have it narrated over the top of. If we don't have any videos that fit, we can grab some out of the store. We can trim and cut things down. We can create these neat transitions between the videos. Actually, at a non-video editing level, maybe even outside of the marketing department as a whole, we've just got a requirement for someone to stitch something together for an internal requirement. Of course, if your marketing demand isn't massive and you don't have a very structured requirement around particular videos and bits and pieces, then this might fit, but you need to go and decide that yourself and find out whether it's the right tool for you. You can also create things in here that we haven't talked about. We'll talk about another day if you're interested. It's something called a brand kit, and that applies across 365 now. So actually you say, look, these are our color themes. This is our tone of voice, and we train the AI model on that tone of voice. We can also bring in font sizes, font types, all that sort of stuff, so that when people start to create videos, whether they're for personal, internal use or external, they're more in line with your commercial brand, perhaps. So have a bit of a play with it. You can see, in fact, you can see before I click on, right down the bottom in the left-hand corner, it says brand kit. Right? So if you're interested in that, go and have a look at the brand kit and how you build a brand kit. So something to slide in very, very quickly, Microsoft Create. Now, you may have noticed this if you've logged into a 365 online recently. It's changed slightly in terms of its menu alignment, which means I've got to go and read all the videos we've done in the past, but never mind. There's an option there for Create. Now, if you have a Copilot license, again, if you have that AI functionality built into your 365 environment, you will have the option in the middle there to create a video. If you don't have that, you will still be able to create an infographic, a poster, a story, and edit an image, all these sorts of things. They are, for that more static content, you can do that now within 365. You can give it some ideas, you give it a prompt, and it generates you a picture. If you want to get into video editing, you want to get into a bit more kind of complex stuff, you will need that Copilot license. But let's have a look at what this can do then. So we go to Create, and I'm going to go over to the various bits and pieces that we can see at the top, but I'm going to create a video, okay? In fact, I'm going to show you a few other things. So you get a view for what posters look like. You get the drift. But we're going to create a video in this example. So we've got some examples. So create from scratch, create a video on why security is a top priority for digital organization. The video should be informative and feel urgent. Good prompt, fantastic. We're going to let it go away, do its thing. It takes a minute or two. But obviously I can type whatever prompt I like in there. So this is very similar to what we've just seen with Clipchamp. But the videos that come back are probably a bit more structured. They're much longer. They're not necessarily 10 seconds long. They can be a minute and a half, 2 minutes long. If I give it lots of context, if I tell it to look at a particular Word document I've got, a PowerPoint slide that I've got, it's going to create a video using the context, using the wording, using the stuff that I've got saved inside 365. And there's our video. On the right-hand side, again, you can't hear it, but there is a narration going over the top of this, where I can adjust the voice again. The background music, does it need to be ambient, chill, upbeat? What does it need to look like? The style and tone, does it need to be formal, professional, casual? What's the aim here, okay? And then you can go and get it to create a new draft of that video and tweak it. Something I quite like is that we have an internal induction presentation, right? All of our members of staff that join the business go through an induction, very common in most organizations. But what I could do is get it to turn my induction presentation into a live video. Okay, so if they just joined the business, they had induction day one, probably weren't that worried about the induction, was probably more interested in getting out there and amongst the troops and joining in. So they might have been drifting off slightly. So why not save that induction? No one likes to sit and click through a PowerPoint slide reading stuff. So actually, I can take my PowerPoint slide, throw it into Create, and have Create narrate over the top of it. Now, we've seen lots of technologies like this where effectively it reads the PowerPoint slide back to you. And I can't really explain, I can't really show you this without the audio, but what it can do is explain what it's doing. As the slide comes in, what will happen is it effectively records every single slide inside the slide deck. And it does read what's in the slide deck, absolutely, but it also adds a world of context to it as well. And it also delivers it. So it doesn't just read it word for word, it summarizes what's on your page, right? And it talks about the things, it ensures it covers everything on the slide, but it delivers it. And that's probably a different way of talking, okay? So you can see here, here's our PowerPoint slide with our induction material inside it. Obviously, we have part of our induction is the history of our business. And if the individual perhaps wasn't able to attend the induction, or the individual didn't really pay attention to the induction, and they want to be able to go away and watch that again at a later date, you could do that. But let's think about that a bit further. Maybe you've got a health plan within your business. You've got some staff employee benefits. You've got a company meeting update that you didn't quite record, and you want to have some narration over it. Then, of course, it can fetch all of that information, compile it together, and narrate over the top of the PowerPoint slide, so you can use that for internal resources. Technically, yes, you could send it out to your customers. It isn't bad, but we had an internal discussion about this between Sam and I have to agree with Sam. I'm going to be totally honest with you. I think for the 5 minutes it would take you as a human being to deliver that, that's going to look so much better in front of your customers than getting an AI engine to read over the top of it, which is why we don't do it, because I'm not I'm not a fan of that. It just looks like you couldn't be bothered to do it. I'll be honest with you. So that's my view. But if you're up against it, you've got no time, you're pressure, you need to get something out the door, this probably would fit the need perfectly. All right. Okay, so we've gone through PowerPoint, we've gone through Clipchamp, we talked about Microsoft Create. The reason we're doing all these things is to create content potentially in the marketing world that we're going to put out into the world. And obviously today, one of the most common ways of doing that is to put it out onto things like social media platforms. Many businesses will use LinkedIn. We use LinkedIn, obviously, so I thought that was probably a good place to start, but obviously these things can apply to lots of other things. And for you, people that are marketers, you'll know all this stuff, I'm sure. But I just want to show you how easy it is to put this stuff up once you've created something, okay? Because in the world of LinkedIn, you kind of have a company brand, but you also have your own personal brand. And most people on LinkedIn are building their own personal branding in some capacity. And they're trying to create content, engaging content, rich content that they want to put out. And obviously some businesses will also encourage their senior leaders and their managers and some of the employees within the company to grow their brand if they're more public facing. So just to give you an idea of some of the things you can do when you post to LinkedIn if you didn't know already. So this is a slide deck that we did on a security webinar a few weeks ago. And one of the things you might not be aware is I see lots of LinkedIn posts of people with PDFs uploaded. I don't know why we don't need to upload a PDF of my PowerPoint slide. I can simply upload it when I create a post, right? So I upload a post, I go add a document, and I can go and choose a PowerPoint slide. And when I hit done, within my environment, so let's put a name in. I said to Sam earlier, doesn't really matter, does it? And he said, it's marketing. Every word you put in is important, and it might promote engagement X, Y, and Z. That's the world that I don't understand. So, but as you can see here now, we've got this interactive, slidable PowerPoint deck rather than a static, boring thing. Some animations actually work inside this as well. So I wouldn't be able to say which ones do and don't, but I know that some of those animations and transitions will also work. Okay, so perfect. So we can put a PowerPoint slide up there, really easy, fantastic. Other thing's really cool, let's go and use things like Copilot. Again, I'm in work mode here, but remember you've got Copilot for web. So this content that it's created for me, I've asked it to create 3 LinkedIn posts for me to send out about IT support service from Tailor Made Technologies. Because I have Copilot, it's able to read the files, the content, the things that exist within Tailor Made and create really kind of well-refined branded things that reference products and services and things that we do. If I didn't have Copilot, I could still use the web-based version and say, hey, I want 5 LinkedIn posts about the TMT motorbike, and it will go and source information from online to generate some posts. So no problem at all. We go and ask it that question. It says, yep, great, wonderful. Here's 3 posts, right? So it's given me post 1, proactive IT support that powers productivity at Tailor Made. We believe in IT support should be more than reactive. It should be proactive, strategic, and empowering. Perfect. Good. Sounds good to me, but then I'm not a pro. So obviously your marketing team probably want to pick that up, refine it, change it, do what they need to do to it way before you start posting it online. So, but let's go over and start a post. We can drop that in, but that isn't kind of the point here necessarily. What I'd like to get to, let's tweak it. See, I put emojis in and I got told we shouldn't use emojis either, but I don't know, I'll be led. So you can see lots of things we can do. Add polls, add documents, add videos, add events and calendar appointments. The bit I want to focus on is this schedule. So I can schedule my post to go out at a later date. So let's say I've created my content, or maybe in my world, I might have been given some content that I need to get out as part of the business, because I'm not only presenting Scott Weedon, but I'm also representing Tailor Made Technologies. There's some content that I need to post out, or I need to read it, refine it. Maybe I've written something, I've given it to the marketing team. They've made it sound much more engaging and interesting. It comes back to me and I'm going to post it out as myself. So that's great. But if they, the marketing team say, Scott, we want you to post out every week, every Friday, and talk about these various these concepts. And go, yeah, no problem at all. I don't want to log into LinkedIn every Friday afternoon, write something and post it up, because I don't know where I'm going to be on Friday afternoon in some capacities, right? I'm a reactive member of staff as well. So what I can do is say that this Friday afternoon, I've got 3 hours and I'm going to sit down and write out all my posts for the next month, and I'm going to queue them all up inside LinkedIn so that every week something's coming out and being engaged. Now, there are lots of tools out there that will do these things for you. You've probably heard of, I don't think it exists anymore, does it? But like TweetDeck is what's coming to my mind. But like, I think that's gone now. You tell me. But you know, we used to post things out and schedule things to go out on Twitter or X, as we call it, LinkedIn, YouTube, all these things. But actually, if you're an individual looking at LinkedIn and posting out on LinkedIn, that's what you really care about. That's quite useful. You don't need to go and get third-party tools to do that. And then probably worth pointing out, obviously, we've created all this video content, right? We created something in Clipchamp. We played around with its size. So let's cut it down to square so it's the right size for LinkedIn. Perfect. We'll play that through. That looks pretty good. There's some narration at the bottom there in that blue box, as you can see. And we're going to go and choose export. Recommendation, make sure that video is HD if you're going to put it online. And then we go and choose export. And what it will do is whiz through the video and basically render it. It's similar with all video editing platforms. It's now playing the video through. Be slightly quicker than watching it, but it can take a few minutes. If you've got a very long video, it can take a bit of time to do that. And then we save that video file down, stick it on my computer, no problem at all. Jump over to LinkedIn once we're happy, and we can create a new post. And as part of us creating that new post, you can still see we've got the draft from the previous email there, or previous post there. Go and add some media. I upload from my video. I choose my video from Clipchamp. Happy with that, no problem at all. Hit next, and you can see at the bottom of the post now is that little video that we just created in Clipchamp. So it took me a minute and a half to create a video. It took me a minute to upload it. And within 2 minutes, we've got something that's much more interesting, much more engaging. And of course, if you're building your own personal brand, you've got a lot more creative freedom around what you're going to do and what you're going to put up. If you're building your marketing brand, your business's marketing brands, you probably want to be a little bit more reserved around what you're creating. So Clipchamp, looking at things like brand kits, looking at how your tone of voice is coming across from within the business. Okay, so we have shot through that today. Okay, I'm glad to tell you you're going to get 20 minutes of your day back. So as always, we always ask you to fire any questions you want to fire at me. I appreciate today's been maybe a little bit marketing focused, but actually think about how you could use that in other sections of your business, how you might be able to use that personally. Look, we're obviously here talking about businesses, but I can personally, I see a lot of value in that just for my own stuff, right? For my own family actions, my own family requirements, and creating videos and bits and pieces. So you may not realize it's there. So Clipchamp's a great thing to go and look at. Probably another thing to call out, morph animations inside PowerPoint, you know, give that a go. Absolutely brilliant. LinkedIn, I'm sure you're all very comfortable with it, but what we will do is we'll do more and more bits around that and expand that conversation, because of course LinkedIn is owned by Microsoft now, so I can talk about it. So bear that in mind. So I've got lots of thank yous. I appreciate you all joining. That's brilliant. If there's any questions, I'm happy to fire them back. But if not, if you've got no questions, you're happy, please feel free to go and jump back into your busy afternoon. All looks pretty good. Okay, well, thank you very much, everybody. Take care. We'll see you next